Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video, another reaction video. I react in my own unique ways, but I hope people out there enjoy it. Anyway, I was going to react to some videos on today, as it's a Tuesday, given my use of alliterations and stuff like that. But I stumbled across this again, which I've seen before, but I didn't read it properly. But it's about the, it's a story covered by Sky News. I believe it's based, although it's owned by Rupert Murdoch, who's, as far as I'm aware, who's an Australian. But anywho, it's about the Italian ultras, i.e. the football hooligans in Italy, and some of the prejudice as well. I think it covers, well, no, it covers that as well. But anyway, I was going to go for a nap, but I thought as I had this room to myself, kind of, I'd take this opportunity to record this video. For some reason, the clock in the corner always seems to, not always, but a lot of times seems to go wrong. But anyway, I'll try not to waffle. I don't think I'm going to say too much for the intro, but except for one thing, which is how I would love to change some of the hooliganism, crime, criminality, even match fixing, corruption, which Juventus were found guilty of, and some other teams, I think, as well, and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I'd love to see some changes in Italian football, and I'll probably try and go through that, if not during the video, after the video. Hope you enjoy it. I was actually going to react to the one which says the violence is getting worse, the world of Italian ultras, but I thought I'd react to this one first, which is a bit longer than the other one. Is only about 2.5 minutes long, just under 2.5 minutes long. But anyway, here goes. So I hope you enjoy, and as ever, I'd love to read any comments. I'll try not to waffle too much. I think that covers everything. And here goes. I thought it wasn't going to play then. So yeah, while the adverts play, I'll just say I'd love to change some of those things, like Italian football to become more attacking. I know I've mentioned that recently, whilst maintaining its defence and things like that, but attacking obviously in terms of football, not in terms of violence.
The violence can be sudden.
Me personally, although I'm a big fan of Italian football, as well as obviously, as you probably can tell, in my other videos, you probably have to be, I don't know what the word is, you probably have to be very, what's the word, unobservant. You'd have to be deaf, dumb and blind if you see my other videos to not know I'm a big fan of Italian. Personally, even though I'm a fan of Italian football, I know Italian football can be very violent and even racist and stuff like that, unfortunately. And as you can see, it's really bad and violent, stuff like that. But I can't stand violence, really. It's a bit of a dilemma, but because I supported Italian football ever since I was young, I've sort of stuck by them. But these are some of the things that I think are very negative about Italian football, to be honest.
The ultras are the most dedicated club fans, but some of them are linked to crime and a growing tide of violence. We're in Rome and intimidation fills the air. It's mixed with an appetite for a fight. These ultras groups all have a leader, and here is one of the most feared. Marco's the Inter Milan Curva Nord ultras, a hero for his devoted followers. He tells me the ultras are in a good way, but today he doubts they'll clash with their rivals.
The weather is not helping the fighting. But normally it's not really quiet. In the Roma is always to be careful. You watch around what happens around yourself.
I find it strange that they're afraid of the rain, but they're not afraid of like getting things thrown at them. I find that a bit strange. But I wonder, like some people say, I wonder how many football hooligans are actually interested in the actual football, or how many just want to go for a tear up, i.e. a fight. How many actually care about the game and the result? Because I think if they cared about the game, I think you could easily change them, because you could say you're actually not benefiting your team. You could get them fines and other such punishments, like points deductions, or heaven forbid, even get bans and things like that. So it's like to actually win trophies if you have like hooliganism and stuff like that. Although having the passion, like chanting your team, like Celtic does, and many Italian teams do, obviously, but actually help. But I think if they change from that like hooliganism, I can't pronounce the word, that violence and stuff like that, that violent mentality, and instead channel that into like learning to be better coaches or learning to be coaches and coaching the youth, as I say, the young players. For some reason I put youth in speech marks, I don't know why, but given my patterns and stuff like that. But also if they tried to help the team, like to fundraise more money, like teams like Roma and Inter and others, Torino and whatnot, could, the town teams generally basically is similar with Celtic, they could actually benefit their team because they could help to fundraise, to help to buy even better players and to invest in the academies and things like that. And they can be proud of their city and their country and their area by helping Italian football to come back to where it was before, which was the top in the 80s, I guess, a club team level in the 90s, and in many times the national team as well has been amongst the top. So I think it'd be cool to see that sort of pride rather than like the hooliganism, we can beat you up and all that kind of stuff, which is more, I think should be more for children really than grown adults. But that's my personal, not that I'm very mature myself, but anyway, that was just my 2 cents anyway, adding to that.
But with this weather,
Getting scared of
Italy is really organized. Everything is really organized.
That's another thing I was thinking, like, actually, ironically, considering I'm from England, when I look Italian, although I'm a British citizen, I won't say where I live just in case, but I think that's one thing, ironically, if that's the right word, that if they could learn from the original football hooligans, which are England, like how the English police got on top of and stopped football hooliganism and improved the Premier League, the EPL, as I call it for short, by the hooliganism and inviting more families and things like that. So, I mean, people probably find the hooliganism quite interesting, violence and all that, but I think for a lot of fans around the world, they probably find that very immature, and it'll be less likely to have more followers of Italian football. So I think the FIGC, i.e. the Italian FA, and Serie A and those involved in Italian football at all levels, I think it'd be cool if they worked together and coordinated to sort of tackle hooliganism and sort of unite. I know it was Italy's Unification Day a couple of days ago, so it would be cool if they helped to unite. Obviously, you're going to have a rivalry, but I think it should be more of a friendly rivalry way, taking the mick out of each other, but in a friendly sort of way. So I'd love to see as little violence, racism, prejudice, and things like that as possible in the tackle around corruption and crime and that kind of thing. Earlier on, they also talked about like some of the organised crime and stuff like that, but I'd love to see how football could be used to tackle that kind of thing, like working with FIFA and UEFA and that kind of thing. But I'd love to know your opinions on that as well. But anyway, obviously now then I pause it to offer my 2 cents, which is, I suppose, reacting to it properly, I suppose.
It's a really important movement. You cannot stop it.
And he's right, the ultras are organised, but so are police. The following night there's another big game, the Sun in Milan. Police are now a fight brewing. To prevent it, they must separate the two sets of ultras. If they meet, there will be violence.
So football's problem menace were just dormant, and now they're back and they're getting worse. The question is whether this sport can now sever its ties with all those demons.
Ultras train for combat here, a fight club in the suburbs. It's Marco's hotel.
Yeah, it's like a religion. It's difficult to explain
So I was thinking, like, another few things I was thinking is, like, I wonder what the mentality is of people, why they like to fight and stuff like that. When I was younger, I used to like scrap, I suppose, even though I was very skinny back then, believe it or not. But yeah, I wonder why grown adults like to fight and what mentality is. I think it'd be interesting if people could ask them why they like to fight. They probably kind of did, or I'm jumping ahead, but they're probably going to cover that. But also something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. But it's gone out of my head. But yeah, this boxing and stuff like that, what they're doing here, and training and all that, training for fighting. What if they took that time to train at football and like coach the youth and things like that, if they really care about their football team, which I think they should be encouraged to do. But I wonder if I hope it's a possible way. Like, part of me has doubts in my ideas, but I hope I can at least express them and give them a go. But anyway.
who is not part of this.
The battle lines are clear. It's about territory.
So this is our city, we don't like you, and we don't want to see you. If you come,
That's one thing I was thinking. Again, I think I saw that early at a different time, even though I didn't watch it properly when I was watching it. But he talked about, this guy whose name I can't remember, talked about making, like, being proud of his city and saying we don't like it. But what if they can make their city proud by, like, being welcoming to people from outside in a way, as long as they obey the law, perhaps, other than other hooligans from other countries or whatever. What if they could say, like, Italian fans could say, we want to make our city proud and make it, like, showcase the world that it's a very welcoming city. Each city in Italy, like they say, they're welcoming cities, and again, winning on the pitch, winning trophies, and that's the sort of thing I want to see Italian teams do. But obviously, if you're attacked, then I suppose you should be able to defend yourself. But it is not something I'm into personally, and I think it's a bad idea. But anyway,
For him, the ultras are tied by loyalty to the team, to the city, and not each other.
so if you care about a team, I think you should want to.
What?
If you care about a team, I think you should want to see them winning more trophies. In which case, as I said earlier, like, if you get them banned or you get them points deductions, fines, and things like that, even, and that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, the worst would be getting banned or and getting points deductions would be bad as well, because it means your team won't do as well, and also just generally not helping them to win trophies and things like that. So if you really cared about the team itself, rather than just instead of hooliganism, I think it really makes things better the less hooliganism you have, in my opinion. But I'd love to know what you think about that.
Fans was lost the life in San Siro out of the stadium during a fighting between us and Napoli, and they are really ultras. We hate them, but we have to say that they are ready for doing that kind of life.
There are no rules. Rocks, knives, but not guns. Watching us is Andrea. Marco calls him his war minister, another ultra with a long history of violence. Several fights to he's paying the price.
We had an argument, then a fight, and I broke his leg. Because of this, I got another 10 years banning gold. At the moment, I can't even enter. I've been banned from the entire territory. So that means I'm forced to stay here outside the city.
Back in Rome, we meet Dolly, an AS Roma ultra who loves fighting other fans.
Ciao. È come andare in guerra, no? È il top.
It's like going to war, it's the best. I've always been on the front line because I like fighting. The adrenaline rushes up. There's no point in hiding it.
È inutile che tutti quanti diamo se.
Dolly's picked up 12 years of banning orders, but he remains a loyal ultra. He's proud of the violence, but what about racism?
Non mi piace giudicare.
I don't like to judge. As for racism, it happens when there's a large group. But it's not racism. It's just a moment of anger.
È un momento di rabbia, da come la penso io poi.
But those moments of anger do look a lot like racism, the chronic problem in these stadiums. Recently, the AC Milan goalkeeper, Mike Maignan, was the victim of vile racist chants. There were lifetime bans for those responsible. Footballer Joseph Manara spent a decade playing in Italy. He remembers one game that was stopped because of racist abuse hurled from the stands.
Diciamo, i tifosi, gli avversari se la sono presi con me. Avevo fatto un gol.
The fans took it out on me. I had scored the goal, we had beaten the other team, and so they threw objects at me. To get me out of the stadium, I remember that the police had to come and pick us up, to escort us, to take us away.
E fare la scorta per portarci via.
Mario was an ultra for more than 20 major club. He admits being involved in both violence and racism.
Mario, have you ever used racist abuse to try to upset an opponent?
Yes.
And how do you feel about that?
Ma lì per lì non c'è stato.
At that moment, I thought it was just normal behavior. It was the sort of thing that was standard. A part of the things happened in the stadium in that period. If I did those things, it was because I believed in them. It was the type of life I had chosen for myself, so repentance is not possible. I would do exactly the same things again.
I think
The
that's quite a
things
shame.
I did during that time.
Esattamente quasi le stesse cose che
I think that's quite a shame they still do the same.
Side of the battle, the Rome control room, where the police manage their response to football violence. And this is how the police see ultras, even those who think they're keeping a low profile. How dangerous are some of the people that we are seeing?
Il numero è importante.
We are talking about 400, 500, even 600 fans who are packed together. And these ultras are the ones who come here determined to commit violence. So yes, they're really very dangerous.
Elevatissima. Questo.
Is it getting worse?
In questo abbiamo notato che dall'anno scorso,
Yes, since last year there has been a resurgence in the violent approach that we see among ultras fans.
da parte delle tifoserie ultras,
The tendrils spread out. Ultras groups are linked to far-right extremist movements across Europe. It is a volatile cocktail. Groups built on football, loyalty and violence, with scenes of racism and crime. We once thought hooliganism would fade away, and we were wrong. Perhaps it's ingrained into football, because from what we've seen, there's no sign the ultras are running out of steam. Adam Parsons, Sky News, Italy.
So if you made it this far, thanks for listening to me. Well, I suppose I wasn't laughing that much, but I'm not always the biggest fan of Sky News. But if you want to see the report, it's on Sky News about the Ultras. If you pretty much type in the same title that I put in, The Rise of the Ultras or whatever. But yeah, I suppose if I'm really dreaming, I'd love to see them basically channel that. To change like hooliganism and channel that into like coaching and helping the clubs, their local clubs, to raise more money for themselves to improve, like by buying better players and developing the youth. And that's something that Italians can be proud of, like their football teams, instead of like hooliganism and violence, and also prejudices. Like I talked before about how they could not use sounds a bit of a harsh word, but utilize migrants towards a mutual benefit. So hopefully migrants could be skilled sort of thing. So anyone who's got a skill for football or anything that could contribute to Italian football. But I suppose, as I say, I'm looking at it through a unique lens, as I only support Italy for football. And also I love to tackle the match fixing, corruption and things like that. So and crime and criminality generally, and like try to look at how football can be used for young people to avoid violence and crime generally, hooliganism obviously, and prejudice and things like that, and to look at how football can be kept as legally as possible, and also to encourage positive behaviour through football, and again how they can practice and channel that into sort of improving Italian football and the success on the pitch as well, hopefully, or mainly on the pitch most importantly. And just trying to think if there was anything else. I'd love to see tax breaks for Italian football teams as well from the Italian government, as much tax incentives for overseas investors and that kind of thing. And an unfair advantage, I suppose, it would be, again, I've probably mentioned this point quite a few times, I know I'm very repetitive, but just to remind myself and others, a really cool sort of thing could be if Africa and the black community generally around the world invest in Italian football, and that could be another thing which hopefully would improve relations between Italians and black people. So if they play football for Italy and like do well for Italy national team and clubs, and also if they invest in Italian football and sponsor it, and also if they help to build pitches and academies and stadiums and whatnot, and just generally benefit Italian football. I'm talking a bit fast because I've got to wrap this video up because I know it's been longer than planned. So anyway, peace and love. I'm out.